Thank you all for coming today. It makes me so happy to see all these smiling faces. It's taken some time for me to put words to this story. It's the first time I'm telling it, so today I'm going to talk about a near-death experience I had 20 months ago. It's a personal story about how love is truly the most powerful force in the universe. It transcends hearts, time, space, and dimensions. We seek to find it and seek to give it. Many of us enjoy the benefits of it in our lives. Here at Earth School, many of us at some point also have a difficult relationship experience with love, often related to loss. These experiences can hurt very deeply, and we all know heartbreak is a very difficult lesson. Often these difficulties can turn our hearts cold for a period of time. When we feel depleted of love, we can feel far more anxiety, stress, pain, and spiritual disconnect. It affects our frequency as we send off the same vibrational frequency we are experiencing in our consciousness. As I share my story, at times I will be talking about and explaining things on an energetic level. Being in the light was like being in another dimension. It's been hard at times to find the words, so I'll do my best to try to explain everything in a way that makes sense. Some of us are aware that parts of us are already made of light, as Patty talked about during our meditation. We call them our chakras. This belief has been around for thousands of years. As spiritualists, we often talk about and focus on the chakra energy systems in the body during meditation. Through our mediumship, we may develop the ability to see these energies here on the earth plane. I'm here to share that these energy centers are very real and are the true spiritual center of our existence. I'm going to tell you why. When I was there, I saw a world made of love, light, and sacred energy. The heart chakra especially is a very powerful one. This is where the energy of love enters our system on a physical and spiritual level. It's also called the seat of the soul, where we can physically feel the pulls and tugs of how love has influenced us. The color of a healthy heart chakra is a beautiful emerald lime green color. Some can see this green energy in around people's energy fields. We all have the ability to see this, but not all of us tap in, and that's okay. As this energy ebbs and flows, it can cause physical sensations and a wide range of emotions. It can affect our thoughts, behaviors, and attitudes. The frequency of our love experiences helps determine the health and balance of our heart chakra. Our body is a physical representation of our energy centers. When our chakras aren't aligned, it can cause physical issues in the body and affect our mind. The heart chakra is also called the seat of the soul, as this is the place where we integrate our experience and understanding of universal love into our daily life. Painful experiences around love can cause us to pull back and create barriers. I was raised in an environment where unconditional love wasn't present and was a foreign concept. A difficult childhood and abusive marriage left me at a point where I felt like I'd given far too much and received nothing in return for the love except for pain. I had become a discouraged person who stopped believing in the power of love. I had not received much, so I had stopped sending it out to the universe. I certainly did not believe in spiritual healing. That was my experience before the NDE. Before I tell that story, I first want to share a dream I had about a month before the accident. In that dream, I was in some sort of major accident. As I tried to recall this dream when I woke up, I couldn't see how the accident happened. All I could see was being immersed in a giant flash of white light and then being in a place that felt like heaven made of light. In this dream, when I realized I was in heaven, I was very angry. I thought this meant that I had died. I was so upset, I started yelling at God for taking me. I was pumping my fists in the air, and I felt a red, orange, and yellow wave just move through me like fire. I had not been the best mother and person up to that point, and only recently had I begun to make some critical changes to take a better path. I had so much regret and begged for a chance to do right by my daughters. After all that I'd overcome, now you're going to take me, I screamed. After this anger moved through me like a wave, I became consumed with deep sadness as I realized I'd never be able to physically hug or touch my daughters again. This caused me to drop to my knees and cry with deep sorrow. I sat there melted in a heap. I needed to go back. My soul journey was not complete. I could not stay in this light, I pleaded. At that moment, my grandfather approached me, put his hand on my shoulder, and said, I am with you when this happens, and you will survive. You will not need to cry out for me. I'm already there. When I awoke after having that dream, I was deeply shaken. I talked about it with my daughter for weeks. I was terrified. I was left with an eerie sense of impending doom. I took care to try and not place myself in any dangerous situations. I thought a lot about how I would be doing things differently from now on. I felt like the time was now or never to begin living a higher vibrational life. At this time, I began making more changes to help raise my spirit, mind, and body vibrations, as I've talked about here before. I thought I could avoid that destiny if I was careful enough and did it right this time. I found out on June 22nd, 2015, that what is meant to be will be, when I fell asleep at the wheel and hit an 18-wheeler head-on at 55 miles an hour.
Oh!
I need a sip of water. The accident happened at 2:30 in the afternoon on a Monday. I had just left work and was headed to a doctor's appointment for a sore shoulder. I had been working long 50-hour weeks and hoping to get ahead financially, and it was wearing on me physically. I remember nodding off and falling asleep just for a second and then opening my eyes to find myself headed straight for the truck. I tried to pull away, but there was no time. The passing of time immediately before and during the impact is somewhat distorted and foggy. Right at the point of impact, the vehicle filled with a flash of white light. At this point, I left my body and traveled down what looked like a black hole through space with a light at the end. I saw lights all around me as I traveled down this tunnel. While I was traveling down this tunnel, I heard what felt and sounded like 10 of the most beautiful songs playing simultaneously like a heavenly orchestra. I'll never forget that sound. It was the most beautiful music I've ever heard. The vibration of those sounds penetrated my being with light, color, and that sound. As I moved through this tunnel at what felt like the speed of light, I looked down and I saw my chakras filling with these bright colors. When I had stopped moving, I found myself in what I describe as a white light spirit room. It was all white and seemed like somehow it was floating in the clouds, yet it had walls. The walls were all white, and in the room were 4 big, comfortable white couches placed in a square facing each other in the center. I went over to the couches, and what I saw amazed me. I was greeted by my departed maternal grandparents, my biological father, whom I'd never met, a boyfriend who had committed suicide, and a son that we lost together, my father-in-law, Archangel Michael, and 2 of my spirit guides. It was quite a group. As I sat down on the white couches, I began to notice beautifully colored, sparkling orbs of light everywhere. I also saw a beautiful, radiant, sparkling white and green light just filling the space. When this light reached